So why now? Why lifting the price target now? This awkward week between Christmas and New Year's, and you said, I have a call to make.
Yeah, because the bears, they're in hibernation mode because they can't find AI in the spreadsheets. And look, we're doing the work. What we see across the Asia supply chain, I mean, we're seeing strength not just into December, what I believe is going to be ultimately a record year for Apple, 240 million iPhone units. And that's why, look, this is going to be an AI-driven supercycle that's multi-year. And that's why, look, the haters, they hate it at 2 trillion, despise it at 3 trillion, at 4 trillion, going to be yelling from the top of the mountains.
You write in your note that you estimate roughly 300 million iPhones globally have not upgraded in over 4 years. So do you think this upgrade cycle is going to be led out of necessity because people are just desperate for a new phone? Or is it that AI capability that Apple's starting to introduce?
I think about 60, 70% of it is that you've gotten to the point now where that's a pent-up upgrade cycle. It's really unprecedented for Apple. But also remember that install base, that's increased 200 million even over the last few years. So the install base continues to be the golden goose of Cupertino. But the AI-driven piece, it's just starting. That's why it's a get out the popcorn moment, because in our opinion, the consumer AI revolution goes through Cupertino. And I think, look, that's why the bears will talk about valuation like they have for years in Apple. It's about some of the parts, about what AI adds to the story. We think it's $30 to $40 per share.
How hard would it be, though, for the next upgrade cycle, especially if so much is driven now by software updates? The hardware hasn't really changed.
Well, I think that's in iPhone 17. Again, that will be, what we'll be seeing later this year, into 2025. That's actually going to be a hardware-driven, a new form factor that's really going to be AI-driven. So that's why this is almost, it's a 1-2 punch. It's 16 into 17. And that's why what makes this unique, it's about the increased services. And ultimately, you have hundreds of apps right now in development that are going to be on top of Apple Intelligence. And that's why the enterprise AI revolution is the godfather of AI, Jensen NVIDIA. The consumer AI revolution goes through Cupertino. And I think that's why we could see 4 trillion potentially, today or Monday.
One potential difficult spot, or is a difficult spot, is China. How are you thinking about China, especially with the fact that Apple needs to partner with a local company to introduce all of this?
Sure. Look, Cook, 10% politician, 90% CEO, right? And no one understands.
He might actually have to be more of a diplomat in 2025 than 10%.
And maybe 30%, 70%. But the point is, look, it's what him and Musk have had to navigate in terms of success in China. But what I love about the cycle, that probably gets announced from the Chinese partner early in 2025. It gets rolled out in April. So the China upgrade cycle in terms of AI coming to China, that's when that happens in April. And this is just the beginning of a multi-year AI cycle that plays out from Apple.
You also talk about Palantir and Salesforce in your note. I recently spoke to Mark Benioff about Agentforce and this new iteration they introduced of Agentforce. And he said it's the most exciting thing he's worked on in his entire career. Is that why you're so excited as well about this?
And for context, I mean, Benioff, Mount Rushmore of tech, right? But it speaks to our view. It's 10 p.m. in this AI party that goes to 4 a.m. And behind the velvet ropes, Benioff wanted to see his name's on the list. Now, all of a sudden, he's on the dance floor. Software is let in. Now, already on the dance floor from a use case perspective is the Messi of AI, Palantir. And look, that's one, as I say, the bears can't see AI in the spreadsheets. That's how, they hated Palantir as a teenager earlier this year, despised as a senior citizen living in Delray Beach at 83. But it's just the beginning now of what I view as the software age in AI. Salesforce, Palantir, and I think others like MongoDB.
What names do you think we're going to be talking about next year that were very quiet during 2024? 2024 really was about NVIDIA, Tesla. What do you think will be the names of 2024?
Yeah, I think those continue to lead in terms of my view for large cap tech. I think up 25%, 2025. I think what hasn't been on the radar, it's going to be M&A, software, cybersecurity, because with Khan done at the FTC, that nightmare, whether it's Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, is done for tech. Now I think you're going to see a lot of accelerated M&A when it comes to software, when it comes to cybersecurity. And I think that That is really is what's going to lead this AI cycle. And I think specifically cybersecurity is an area that I believe could ultimately be one of the biggest outperformers when it comes to tech.
Another tech analyst joined me this week and said the same thing. 2025 is all going to be about cybersecurity. I want to end on Tesla. Overnight, Elon Musk was clashing with a far-right activist who has been close to President-elect Trump, Laura Loomer. And the crux of the argument was about H-1B visas. But this individual is also saying that Musk really isn't MAGA, and yet he's so close to President-elect Trump. Do you think there's a risk there, actually, that he will lose that proximity to power, which you said was one of the best bets of the ages?
Look, it's a bet for the ages. I think that bromance actually gets stronger between Musk and Trump. Because my view is that Trump needs Musk, Musk needs Trump. And whether it's AI, whether it's China, whether it's some of the policies in terms of DOGE, we're going to have these continued dust-ups. So this is going to be a soap opera, I think, for Musk and Trump that continues to play out. But that is going to actually strengthen, and it continues to be for Musk. It's the best bet he ever made on Trump.
Okay, so this is just a flare-up in an episode, not the season finale.
Exactly. View this as just one episode in a 10 to 12 parter on Netflix.